Hey everybody, and welcome to another action-packed edition of the OverMark Podcast. Like always, we're your host. I'm TJ, and we got my buddy Dave. And today, we got a Raw, like always on Tuesdays. And check out our social media at OverMark ENT. Quick, sweet, to the point. We got a little bit of news that we're going to talk about too here, by the way. A couple little segments. But beyond that, check out the link tree. And I'm going to jump us right into Raw here. Because, what the fuck is the point of messing around? So we got WWE Raw. We had an attendance of 8,938 with a setup of 9,198. So they had 260. I'm sure they ended up either handing them out or filling it out because its place looked pretty packed for the setup they had. Raw kicked off with a drone shot flying into the arena like it was auditioning for Top Gun 3, Canadian Codebreaker. We get a sweeping visuals of the crowd, which WWE really wanted us to know was capacity, even if half the upper deck looked like it was playing hide and seek. Then we get the patented walk and talk pre-show parade. Sami Zayn pacing like he's trying to remember where he parked. Jey Uso bouncing around like a man who's 40% caffeine and 60% yeet. Penta doing Penta things, which is to say vaguely threatening the air. And the Judgment Day lurking backstage like Hot Topic employees waiting for a shoplifter. Also, Roxanne Perez is here now. She's in the shot, just in case you thought you were hallucinating NXT call-ups again. And we'll jump into the first little segment we had besides that. Not too bad of a segment. It was Welcome to Monday Night Braun. So the opening segment, which like most weeks anymore, start off with the Avengers. If Tony Stark dressed like a sexy wizard and recruited two angry linebackers as a shady lawyer with neck issues. Seth Rollins entered into his usual theme, like a karaoke contest. The crowd was really fucking singing it this week. Is it even Raw if they fucking don't? But he was joined by Bronson, built like a bear trap Reed, Bron headbutt a Prius breaker, and Paul Waffle House Heyman. He continues to manage more dangerous men than a maximum security prison therapist. Bron Breakker ripped the mic from Heyman like a toddler snatching candy and delivered what can only be described as a verbal hate crime on Sami Zayn. He basically said Sami doesn't fit. Doesn't do, oh sorry, I don't know why I'm messing this up. He doesn't lift, doesn't do sports, has a stupid face, and should have expired like sour cream 2 years ago. It was passionate, it was unhinged, it was possibly a cry for help, who's to say? Meanwhile, Seth and Heyman looked like they were watching their nephew go off script at Thanksgiving dinner, concerned but too polite to stop him. Then Bronson Reed took the mic and reminded us why he once flattened Seth with 6 tsunamis, which, in his group, apparently counts as a job interview. Reed's big beef tonight is with Jey Uso, which I find surprising. I think his big beef is more like a couple of the Baconators from Wendy's. But
right.
Who doesn't respect him, so naturally the solution is more tsunamis. Heyman chimed in with his usual poetic mafia monologue, claiming Roman has no balls. Zayn fled the country like he's dodging taxes, and Penta's hand signals will be stomped out like bad Wi-Fi. He even tossed in some Spanish, which was authentic as Taco Bell menu, read by a New Yorker. Seth finally remembered that it was his show and closed it with, "Welcome to Monday Night Rollins," like a substitute teacher reclaiming the classroom after a fire drill. And that was our opening segment here. 12 minutes of mic stealing, vague threats, international slander, and still no name for the faction, which is kind of weird. At this point, just call them Vision Pro and sell them at the Apple Store. I don't know about that, but
yeah, me either.
Your typical opener, right?
Yeah. You card out some top guys. You have them do their little State of the Union, what their plan of the week is, or plan of the month, whatever the hell's going on. Obviously, we know his plan is Money in the Bank and the belt. Like you said, it's really weird that the group doesn't have a name yet. I'm kind of irked by that at this point. And it's one of those things that the longer that you wait to drop a name, the less it's going to be able to live up to people's expectations, because eventually it's just going to become such a... Right. That too. But it's just going to become such a thing that people are so focused on that whatever they pick, it'll be, less than stellar, just because people's expectations will be so high.
It should be like Seth Rollins and Son. Something like that.
Rollins and Sons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
I think they do good with that.
Yeah, we should email that to them.
They probably tell them. Tell us to go fuck ourselves.
You guys ever think about Rollins and Sons? Nah, they wouldn't say that. Not to us. We're big in India.
Yeah, that's true.
Shout out to our friends there in India.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
We're popping overseas, man.
Yeah,
hell yeah.
Great colleague may have even heard about us. Who knows?
Yeah.
We
heard about him.
Yeah, he could be big fans. Listening to us while he's working out, if he still is. Yeah. I'm sure. I mean,
if he's listening to us, he is a big fan regardless.
Oh yeah,
dude's giant.
That's true. That's one way to look at it.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Speaking of giants,
and on that note, we got the Judgment Day still employed somehow. Welcome back to Judgment Day and Friends, the ongoing sitcom no one asked about. No one asked for, but we can't stop watching. I can't fucking talk. I don't know why. All 5 members were hanging out in their emo clubhouse, casually holding every title in sight like they just robbed a trophy store. Raquel pointed out to a candlelit photo of Liv Morgan like she was leading a seance. Roxanne proudly says that she made it for Dominic because nothing says wrestling faction like arts and craft with unhinged crush energy. I can't fucking talk tonight. I don't know what my deal is. Roxanne claimed Liv's coming back soon. Finn cut in with, well, I needed 8 months for my shoulder because injuries are a competition here for some reason. Then Dominic, human punching bag turned candle shrine heartthrob, thanked everyone for the cake that it turned out to be from AJ Styles, who just happened to be lurking in the background behind some equipment, silently glaring at Dom like a ghost dad with unfinished business. Dominic panicked, waved the doctor's note like he was skipping gym class. The Judgment Day was all gold, all drama, and just enough weird to keep this fever dream rolling. We like it. We want more. Maybe. I don't know. They're kind of entertaining. It's every week their backstage stuff has some kind of redeeming quality, even if you're not a fan of what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean
I would say.
Yeah, I mean they're always moving in some kind of direction.
Yeah. I like that Raquel is more prominently featured now.
Yeah. And I heard that she's really into kratom, by the way. I don't know if maybe that's something that you heard, but she's the
I know that RVD said on his show that all of the wrestlers are doing that. I don't know that all of them are. I'm sure there probably are some. I don't know that she's hooked.
She's hooked. Say that.
I don't know about that. That's allegedly. I don't know.
I don't know. From what she told me when she called me the other day, she's hooked. So it's.
I think you were getting catfished, just like one of those people that like they
Couldn't
message. That was like that one. It's like Liv Morgan from India or some shit that was trying to catfish us. Like, yeah, sure.
They're all over. They're all over Facebook, and that was definitely her, man. She's just really, really into messaging her fans and asking for Apple cards and stuff.
She really needs that to get her brother to be able to get him home, even though she has a multi-million-dollar deal, I'm sure.
Yeah, zillions from what I heard.
Yep.
But yeah, not bad. This is more the usual same shit that we get from the Judgment Day. And I'll take us on here. Roxanne Perez versus Kairi Sane. So they jump right in with some people we were just talking about. Perez versus Sane was exactly what you think the match would be. A whole lot of effort, not a lot of impact, and enough missed moves to qualify as a tribute to WCW Thunder. Roxanne came out hot, trying to beat Sane. Like she caught her talking to Dominic. Things quickly turned into a game of how many pin attempts we can do before someone forgets to finish. Slaps were thrown, kicks were missed, and someone's elbow landed near someone else's soul. Maybe. I'm not really too sure about that. Then we got the Raquel interference. We all knew was coming because nothing screams Main roster momentum, like needing your giant friend to cheat for you every week. Roxanne dominated 80% of the match, hit a moonsault that looked like it concussed both of them, and then lost to a backslide. Yeah, that's, after all, Kairi Sane won with the wrestling equivalent of accidentally leaning on someone too hard. Girl got up for 10, she got beat up for 10 straight minutes, then said oops and got a win. Incredible stuff. Post-match, Raquel and Roxanne attacked her again like sore losers at dodgeball. And here comes Asuka to save the day, sprinting down like she was speedrunning her entrance. She cleaned house, handed out anime combos, and helped Sane hit the insane elbow so she could finally earn one clean-looking highlight in this entire segment. The match was fine, I guess, like mid-fine. We've seen it before, probably better. Roxanne somehow looked better in defeat than Sane did in victory, and if WWE's goal was to make us question why Sane's getting wins again, mission accomplished. What you think?
I think that they're trying to do something with her so that because she won that match against Liv in the match that Liv was hurt, so they're just trying to kind of use that to see if they can springboard this into anything for her, generate any kind of momentum, any kind of interest.
I got a surprise for him there.
Be interesting to see where it goes, or maybe it won't be interesting to see where it goes. I don't know. I don't hate Kairi Sane, but they haven't really done anything super interesting with her in a very long time. And
I don't know, just like eventually there's a point where it's like, how many Japanese chicks that don't really speak or English do you need?
Well, she'll be looking real good doing matches in AEW soon. Who knows?
Maybe not. It's just I just wish that Asuka speaks a little bit, and so does Sky, but really it's not good. And it's just don't really need any more of that. And they all kind of wrestle the same, so it's not much going on there. Don't need.
What do you mean they?
All the the Asian females on the show. If that's what you meant by what I meant, they. But
I'm
speaking of they, take us to this. They packed on like multiple backstage segments right after another. Take us to the first one.
We're gonna talk about this now. Sami Zayn's weekly pain and suffering update. Sami Zayn was once again cornered by Jackie Redmond for his regularly scheduled backstage therapy session. He talked about his busted ribs again, wanting revenge on Karrion Kross again, and having to deal with Bron Breakker tonight, who apparently mocked him, which was, Bron mocks everyone. It's kind of his thing. Sami said he didn't care, which always means he absolutely cares. Then in true spooky soap opera fashion, Scarlett floated into the frame like a gothic fog machine. Jackie tried to ask what's going on, but Scarlett did her usual thing, intense eye contact, no words, with the vibe of someone who just hexed your AirPods. She had all these spiky things coming out of her chest. Pretty intense. This was your standard Sami Zayn is in pain and someone creepy is watching segment. Not bad, not great. Just another step in the endless escalator of this feud. I kind of thought that this feud was going to be over after Night of Champions, to be honest with you.
Nope.
I guess they don't have anything else for either of these guys. I don't
guess
know.
Not. You know how they like intertwining stuff, so I'm sure this might get intertwined into some other stuff, but we'll intertwine our ass on to the next backstage segment here, which is a New Day holding a funeral for the tag team division. So during the commercial break, where WWE just always has this random shit going on that you come back to, the New Day emerged dressed in black, carrying flowers like they were hosting a funeral or doing a very dramatic community theater sketch. Kofi solemnly declared that the tag team division has died, which fair, and kind of, and Woods said that the World Tag Team titles were stolen from them. Kofi then demanded a rematch, while Woods wrapped it up by telling everybody to fall for their knees, raise their hands, and scream, "Thank God for the New Day." And then the crowd booed them. Of course they would. We're big fans of the New Day. We still think they're funny. But the audience, not so much. They're not laughing at anything they're doing anymore. And this was part sermon, part funeral, part sketch comedy, and somehow still more serious than most actual tag sketches that you see, or I mean, not sketches, but promos, whatever. So God bless him for trying. Given
Better
that,
than
right?
the tag stuff we've been seeing on SmackDown.
Yeah, well, I mean, the New Days, at least they're fleshed out characters. Most of these other teams that they have, like the Creeds or whatever, have the fucking charisma of a shoe.
Yeah. If I never see those guys again, that'd be fine.
Yeah, it would. But take us on to something else that has to do with them.
Well, we get a backstage segment with just those same guys. The Creed brothers accidentally snitch, and the Kabuki Warriors return. Adam Pearce was backstage doing his usual "how many matches can I book before catering closes" routine. When the Creed brothers and Ivy Nile walked in, Pearce told them that El Grande Americano has a match tonight. Brutus, ever the subtle one, immediately blurted out, "It's Chad Gable," like a kid spoiling a surprise party. Julius tried to shush him, but it was too late. Ivy Nile pivoted and asked to be in the Evolution Battle Royal. Pearce said sure, like he was just checking names off a raffle list. Then the Kabuki Warriors entered, like they'd been waiting in the hallway for their cue. Asuka and Sane said they wanted to face the Judgment Day, and Pearce responded like a substitute teacher, "Cool, you're in the tag team title match at Evolution." They liked that, and scene. This was just a conveyor belt of storyline setups. Nothing bad, nothing exciting, just a bunch of people politely getting booked. We appreciate the effort, but no one's screen time was in danger of being too memorable. Yeah, that was really it. A lot of these backstage segments, you could probably let some of these matches go on, not an AEW length, but we can. There needs to be a balance between how much backstage shit that there is and in-ring shit that there is, and I feel like sometimes WWE right now is starting to get too much backstage shit, and AEW's in-ring stuff, it might be a little too long. It needs to be like a comfortable middle ground of the two, and I don't know that we're meeting it here on either show. I
agree. I'll take us on here to the next backstage segment with Nikki Bella. Remember, she's a wrestler. So Nikki Bella got the Moody Solo video package treatment, complete with dramatic lighting, serious face, and about 7 variations of "I'm Still Here." She said that she still wants one more movement to prove herself in the Evolution Battle Royal. She talked about doing whatever it takes, chasing the title at Clash in Paris, and not running from her past, which sounded like the trailer for a dramatic wrestling biopic called Fearless, the Nikki Bella story. This wasn't too bad. The video did look pretty slick. The promo was decent, and Nikki Bella hasn't been around enough to overstay her welcome. So it actually worked. It was a cool little throwback tease, and let's just hope that it kind of stays at one more moment and doesn't turn into 7 more segments a week from this shit. We'll see. I remember me and you fucking knew it. That the second that and I don't mean this in a bad way, people split up, it doesn't have to be anybody's fault. But we knew the second that she got fucking divorced and she had to do that settlement to the guy because she was the breadwinner, that she was going to show up on this fucking show.
We said that on a fairly early episode, if I'm not mistaken.
Right when this fucking broke, we did. I mean, it's,
but
I don't blame her. Get your fucking money. Take advantage of TKO wanting to pay people to come back. And if you do fucking stay around, hopefully they use her in like a kind of a, not as just one of the girls, like somebody who kind of shows up here and there. Trish stuff, maybe.
She'll be one of those ones that she'll never have to fire up an OnlyFans.
Well, she shouldn't have to. She's a hard worker. I feel
yeah, that's what I'm saying. She won't have to.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the girls that were out there, they seem like they were working harder than the other ones at outside projects, like their clothesline and other shit like that.
By the way, I'm not hating on the gals that do that. Whatever, get that bag, however. But it is what it is. I'm just saying that she's probably not going to have to make one. That's all.
Yeah, I doubt she will either. Worst comes to worst, she can just go move in with her sister and Brian.
Right?
Yeah, well, move us on and take us on to an actual match here.
Well, We got Sami Zayn versus Bron Breakker, featuring pain, pipes, and bad decisions. Sami Zayn was on his way to the ring, minding his own business, when surprise, Karrion Kross ambushed him from behind. Scarlett brought a pipe, because of course she did, and Kross bashed Sami's ribs like he was trying to tenderize him for later. Adam Pearce and the usual parade of ineffective WWE officials ran out to stop the chaos, which as always took way too long. We then spent 3 minutes watching Sami insist he could still wrestle, because what better way to show your toughness than agreeing to fight a human battering ram with visible internal damage? Pearce hesitated for half a second, then shrugged and said, "Sure, go die in the ring." The match started, and Braun immediately treated Sami like a crash test dummy. He ripped off the rib tape for extra disrespect, hit a knee after knee to the gut. He looked like he was auditioning to replace Rhino in ECW. Sami got up for a brief flurry of hope, a clothesline, and a double axe handle, but when he jumped off the top rope, he got speared in the next week. That was followed by a run around the ring like an angry dog, spear on the outside, and finally another spear in the ring to end Sami's night in under 5 minutes. Bron Breakker won with 3 spears of pure ass whipping. And this wasn't a match. It was a public execution in HD. Bron looked like an absolute beast. Sami sold like he was auditioning for a medical drama. And Pearce should probably be investigated for letting this happen. As a wrestling match, As a squash match with a story, beautiful pain. And I hope you guys don't hear right now. It's 8 o'clock at night, and they're doing my lawn, and they're weed whacking and lawn mowing right outside my window here.
You're good.
Seems like a weird time to be doing it. But anyway, what did you think of this match?
It was okay. It wasn't much of a match, I'd say. Sami's just fucking gets his ass whipped again. Everybody wants to whip his ass. He's just always getting beat up by fucking multiple people. All the heels he's always beating his ass. I don't know. It's
easy pickings, I guess. I don't know.
One day they're eventually going to give him the World Heavyweight Championship, but then what? Is he going to get his ass whipped but just have a title? Like, are they going to run him over with a forklift next week? Like, what's going to go on here? Like, I think he's going to take a little bit of a break for a month or so, because he said he's gone indefinitely. So we'll see how long indefinite is, but I'll indefinitely move us away from that if you want, and we'll talk about this the grief counseling of the tag division hour. So we get a replay of Bayley versus Lyra from last week, just in case you forgot that women also fight on this show. Then Adam Pearce was also again trapped in GM Purgatory, this time dealing with the War Raiders, who politely begged him to keep them in the consideration, which is polite code for "we hadn't been on TV for months. Please remember we exist." The New Day arrived, still in funeral gear, looking like they were about to drop a gospel remix of their theme. They demanded a tag title rematch, but the War Raiders hit them with that classic "there's no such thing as automatic rematches" rule WWE loves to remember only when it's convenient. And then things got real weird. Becky Lynch entered, looked at the New Day, and hit them with the cold "sorry for your loss," like she was officiating their tag team funeral. Then she casually trashed Big E by calling him a scumbag and strolled off to do a promo, like that's a totally normal thing to say to someone's grieving stablemates.
Well, they don't like him, so yeah, that works.
This segment had everything: forgotten tag teams, black funeral outfits, Big E slander, and Becky Lynch just casually dropping one-liners like she's been binge-watching Succession. But whatever it is, I guess, it was kind of entertaining. Better than the other tag team segment that they had earlier. With the Creeds. But yeah, what you think? Got anything to add, or are you just going to move on ahead?
Oh, no, we can go ahead and just move on ahead there. Why don't you, tell us about this next thing, too?
Becky Lynch versus 2 losers who failed last week.
Boy.
We're going to hear from Becky Lynch here, like we always do. And Becky Lynch came out to remind us that she's the greatest of all time, and also to ask why 2 women who lost last week are getting a title shot at Evolution, which is a fair question. She said if other champs get to pick their challengers, she should too, and chose some random fan that she could beat easily. Subtle, yeah. She pointed out in the crowd, she was just like, "I pick you, and I'd whip you in a second," or some shit like that. She's pretty funny. And then she claimed,
She can be.
yeah, if she was a guy, I think people would be more into it because it'd be more like intimidating, you know? She's not very intimidating.
No,
Then
not
she,
at all.
yeah, claimed that Bayley and Lyra were secretly working together to steal her title. You know, sure, that's totally happening. Bayley showed up and said that she should be champion if Lyra hadn't screwed her. Lyra stormed past her like she wasn't even there, called Becky a lunatic, and said it's time to take her title back. The usual, we respect each other, but also I hate you stuff. Things got spicy. Becky stirred the pot. Bayley called Lyra a little bitch, and Lyra snapped. She dropped Becky with Nightwing, then turned around and did the same to Bayley, just for good measure. So Lyra ended up standing tall at the end while Becky laid there, probably regretting her promo time. This really wasn't too bad.
No, it was actually a decent segment.
Yeah, it's they're throwing. Lyra's been working with Becky for a little while now, and they're throwing Bayley in there, and she's it seems like she's getting better. Like as she's doing this, like you can tell she's making small little improvements, and it's funny because there's some chicks that have been hanging around in AEW for fucking way longer, and they haven't improved on the mic at all.
Nope.
And then they actually brought one of them over, and Jade Cargill. Fuck.
You know what they have done better than her though? No, never mind.
What? Play chess?
Be hot? Yeah. Yep.
Well, okay.
Not that matters. That has zero bearing on your wrestling ability.
That's objectional. Yeah. So
You just
some people might really be into it. Right? Everybody's into different shit.
That's true.
Go on and take us on to something else that some people may be into.
We got Backstage Bros and Yeet Theater. We got a quick video recap reminding us that Rusev beat the brakes off Sheamus last week, aka the most physical match that nobody's talked about since it happened. Yeah, I don't know about that. People don't really need to talk about that. Nobody wants to see that, I don't think. Backstage, Seth Rollins was hanging out with Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed in what looked like a very sweaty team meeting. Why are all these guys so damp all the time? Bron was mad that Karrion Kross attacked Sammy because now people might think he needed help. Rollins assured him, relax. No one likes Kross anyway, which is true. He told Bron he got the job done. And then classic Paul Heyman showed up just to be the bearer of bad news. Sami Zayn's out indefinitely. Classic Heyman. Rollins turned to Reed and brought up Jey Uso, who's apparently perfectly healthy, to which Reed responded, basically, yeah, but not for long. And then Jey Uso made his way to his weekly pilgrimage from the parking lot, slapping hands, yelling yeet, and taking a solid 5 minutes to get to the ring. They even took a break mid-walk just to get a stretch out of the yeeting and WWE's version of cardio. That's a whole lot of stuff there, man. How many kids he was eating with? Like 2 or 3 kids at one time, I think, wasn't it?
Something like that. And then like he went to go walk away from one of them, and they kind of reached out for a hug, and he turned around and hugged him.
That's right. That's it. That's the only time that you should be hugging kids that aren't yours. Is if you're a wrestler and.
Where's that kid? Was like, oh man, he's got like grease and lube on him.
Yeah, he's
like after he hugged, yeah, like Randy from Trailer Park Boys.
Yeah. Oh shit! Yeah. What are you looking at my gut for?
No, wrong one.
Yeah, I know. Philadelphia Collins.
Yeah. Oh, Phil.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Mustard Tiger.
I miss him. He's a good guy.
Yeah. He was. Well, why don't you tell us about what happened next?
Well, before that, sorry, I lost train of thought for a second. It's kind of funny. This lasted pretty similar to the previous match too, but they're not letting Jay lose to this guy, so that at least shows you to some extent that they still value Jay, because they could have just had him lose if they really didn't care, Yeah, Jay's the man, and this really wasn't much of a match, just more building up of shit that they're doing and trying to make these guys look like a big, deadly heel faction, which I guess they're succeeding in. Yeah, we'll move on to this backstage segment here. LA Knight wants the case, the match, in the spotlight. LA Knight's been, is he on Raw permanently now?
Oh, I hope so. I think he's just been around because he's feuding with Rollins, and because Rollins is on all the shows. So is whoever wants to whip his ass.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know. They're supposed to be doing that, fucking, what is it? The roster thing? I forget what it's called. But they're
The
supposed
draft. Yeah, it was supposed to have already happened, and it didn't.
Huh.
Thought it was going to happen the weekend that they were here in Tampa, and it ended up not being the case.
Yeah.
And also, before we continue with this, our friends Ryan and Brandon have been super all about LA Knight as of late. Like they don't really watch SmackDown ever, so they weren't familiar with him, and they're all on his tip now.
Yeah. Well, he's entertaining, man.
Yeah.
He's just like the way he carries himself and shit. It just works. I don't know. I'm a fan. Yeah, I really wasn't familiar with him before. We came back and started watching again, but he's definitely a pretty entertaining guy. But anyways, LA Knight cuts a backstage promo about his upcoming match with Seth Rollins at Saturday night's main event, and as usual, he made it sound like it's the most important match in human history. He said Money in the Bank should be his, because of course he did. He reminded us he took multiple tsunamis and was back in a week. Yeah, nobody else has done that. Casually no-selling near death like a guy who just shook off a hangover. Because everybody else that's taken them, they're out for like a month or so. Knight said Rollins can hold the briefcase, but deep down, oh no, this is LA Knight's game. Yeah. So classic Knight promo, full swagger, volume, and just enough delusion to make it fun. The build's been solid. Let's be real, Seth's probably winning. Not bad. I am, like we were just saying, we like Knight a lot. Everything he does is good, and they've really been building him good here. He's been like picking his spots and coming in and hitting them and getting out of there, and he hasn't really had his ass whipped. So he looks smart.
Yeah, they haven't been portraying the faces as complete brainless idiots.
Yeah, which is kind of rare because almost all of them seem to be like, even Punk fits that shit now. But I'll take us on out of here to the next one, which has Io Sky, Rhea Ripley. She's got her number, and WWE wants you to know about it. So we get a hype video for Io Sky versus Rhea at Evolution, and the theme was clear: Rhea can't beat Io ever. They showed Io pinning Rhea multiple times, including back in NXT, just to really drive the point home. They also replayed last week's promo where the match was made, reminding us that this is a big deal because apparently Rhea's kryptonite wears neon and moonsaults. It was a good video, a little solid storytelling. Io looks like a legit threat, and Rhea's finally got a challenger she hasn't steamrolled. Evolution looks like it's about to get real, I guess, because I feel like they're probably going to end up having Rhea beat her. I think that they were going to have Liv beat her too.
Maybe. They keep. I mean, at this point, they kind of have to, based on how much that they've teased that she's beat her every time.
Well, I mean, it's not only that. It's like, I feel like if you look at this show, they've kind of given some people some chances, and whether or not they've been used correctly in that chance, which isn't up to them, it hasn't panned out, and they just kind of need to get some stars out there doing some shit that people want to see, because the show it's still doing amazing by every like measurable stat, but I think you're starting to see that hill go down a little bit.
Yep.
So it's just something
Peaks
to pay
and
attention to, for sure. But you don't know how much of a valley it is. A valley is only a valley till it goes back up, right?
That's true. That's true.
But anyways, take us on out of here to El Grande Americano versus Dragon Lee.
Oh boy, El Grande Americano and Dragon Lee kick things off with matching head scissors. Dragon Lee. While the commentary team continued pretending we don't know it's Ludwig Kaiser under the mask. Spoiler, we do. Lee brought the heat with drop kicks, dives, and even tried to unmask Grande, but got shut down at every turn. Grande, as always, got desperate after adjusting his mask, Reed stuffing it with metal. He dodged a top rope move and headbutted Lee with the force of a steel-toed lie. 1, 2, 3. Another mysterious win for El Grande. He wins via headbutt and felony cheating. This was a good match, fun pacing, and the usual mask nonsense. The Who is El Grande game continues, even though it's more obvious than a Scooby-Doo villain reveal. Dragon Lee gets great spots and 0 wins per usual. And yeah, that was it for that match. What did you think, TJ?
Match, nothing too crazy, you know. What are you going to bring up there? I was actually surprised that Kaiser kind of does the lucha stuff pretty well. He's a little bit slow compared to them, but it looked good. He wasn't fumbling around or anything, and his stuff was tight when he did it. So, not bad. It's kind of interesting to see these guys use this style of wrestling when they normally never would, because it doesn't fit their character. But beyond that, I'll take us on here. Another backstage segment. Penta, Heyman, and the most polite thread ever. Penta was backstage minding his lucha business when Paul Heyman showed up doing his best mysterious oracle bit and even busted out some Spanish. Penta responded in kind, probably telling him to kick rocks with respect. Then Bron Breakker showed up to do Bron things, scowl, threaten, breathe heavy, and Penta hit him with the signature Se Romero, hand gesture, and walked off like a total guy, I guess. It says legend here, but that's not what I'm going with.
He gave him a hand gesture?
Yeah, a couple of them.
Oh, man.
Yeah, a couple hundred. And
well, I guess they did move to Netflix from regular TV so that they can do a little bit more adult-style things.
Yeah, they did. And we'll jump into another promo here with Kairi and Cross. So, Kairi and Cross and Scarlett cut their promo from the upper deck because nothing screams threatening like being miles from the ring. During the break, of course, Cross laughed about smashing Sami Zayn's ribs earlier and said that he's going to do it every single week until Sami admits that Cross was right. They got a real healthy dynamic here. Fans actually chanted, "We want Cross," which clearly threw him off, so he fired back with, "Now you got me," and promised to keep gut punching Zayn with the steel rod. I guess it's a bromance between them there. Cross ended the promo by declaring himself the devil, and the devil and Sami the devil you don't. Then kissed Scarlett like a man who just won a Mortal Kombat match. So creepy, dramatic. Cross being Pete Cross. The crowd was actually into it, which is wild, and give the man more screen time. He's finally hitting his stride. Go ahead and take us on to the next fucking video package, Dave.
Oh boy. Videos galore. This is like what I was talking about maybe we can get a middle ground between the match time and the video packages. Jesus Christ. Stephanie Vakir, though, I love her, so this at least we got that. She has arrived, and she's not here to make friends. Stephanie Vakir got the dramatic hype video treatment, letting us know that she's here to dominate, which is wrestling code for "I'm about to hurt your favorites and take their screen time." It was short, intense, and to the point. She didn't say much, but the vibe was clear. No smiles, no nonsense, just violence. I like Stephanie. I've been a fan of what she's been doing for a while. I liked the match that she had at the AEW a while back, which was what kind of helped her get noticed by the WWE. And I'm glad that she's on the main roster. Yeah. Do you have anything that you'd like to add about her?
No deal. No, she's cool. I like her. But yeah, you should take us into the Gunther versus Goldberg thing here.
So we got Gunther.
You're a real big Goldberg fan.
I just because I said Gunther, I don't want you to think that I meant Nia Jax or Piper Niven. And Goldberg. This is a talk segment. This isn't a fight segment. Maybe it is. Who knows? We got World Heavyweight Champ Gunther comes out, and not the closet, but to the ring, and he's ready to talk. But before he could even get a word out, the crowd started chanting Goldberg like it was 2003. Gunther said he's defending his title at Saturday night's main event and claimed Goldberg is afraid. Not of him necessarily, but of pressure. Deep. Right on cue, Goldberg pulled into the arena in a classic muscle car, because of course he did. He walked through the hallway with his entrance music blaring like boss-level entrance and got straight in Gunther's face. No mic needed. Growled something about talking crap, knocked the mic out of Gunther's hand, dared him to swing. Gunther tried it. It didn't go well. Goldberg blocked it and decked him and teased the spear, but Gunther bailed, living to chop another day. And Goldberg yelled 5 days because apparently he's his own hype man now. Short and tense and very on brand. The no spear was smart. Save it for the match. Gunther looked like a calculating champ. Goldberg looked like a wrecking ball with a car. Fans ate it up. I really didn't. I still think that he looked like shit. Boy. I don't know. I don't really have much to say about this. And the segment itself wasn't bad, but man, just Goldberg, he's not. What did you think about this, TJ? I don't have anything positive to say, really.
You know, the segment was all right. It's kind of weird. I know there's no way around it since we're having the match, but having your world champion like sell for this old man. But I thought it was really cool that Goldberg is still around, and he was actually in the crowd. So Goldberg was really excited that for one time in his life, after his whole career, somebody that was like a second father to him, his Uncle Tom, finally got to watch him in the ring. So at least Uncle Tom got to have a good night watching his nephew in the ring, Goldberg.
My brain stopped working.
Oh, damn. Yeah, his Uncle Tom seems like a really nice guy. They did a couple interviews with him on their local news about it, and it's really good stuff. But yeah, I'll take us on.
Can you imagine if like Triple H was world heavyweight champion, like one of his early runs, and they brought back like Bob Backlund to have him have a competitive program. He's selling for old Bob Backlund, and people will probably say, "Well, why would you pick Backlund?" And it's like, well, he was one of the longest tenured WWF champions for a while there. So
he also had Uncle Tom at one of his shows after he was older too. So it's kind of ironic you brought him up, that they both have an Uncle Tom.
That is wild. I didn't realize that there was such crossover there. But anyway, yeah, why don't you take us into what happened next?
We got this backstage mayhem before the main event, right?
Oh, boy.
Penta and Rollins were walking to the ring while Grayson Waller was once again bothering the New Day backstage like a lost intern. During the break, we got Kairi Sane video reminding us that she's still elbow dropping people, and an Upper Deck interview where Natalya and Maxine Dupree promised teamwork in the Evolution Battle Royal, which means they're absolutely turning on each other, right? I mean, probably.
Yeah.
But Tozawa yelled, "We will win," and ripped his shirt off, because I guess it's what he does. And then it was the main event of time. Penta out first, followed by Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman, who's still carrying that briefcase like it's a Horcrux. I always say that word, Horcrux. The Harry Potter.
I don't even know what the fuck that is.
The main bad guy in the show couldn't die because he took and split his soul at different parts of his life to like 7 different objects, and they went around in the last like 2 books destroying them. But
I just unintentionally glazed over when you were telling me that. Holy shit!
It's okay. Unironically, Harry Potter did not have an Uncle Tom like Goldberg and Bob Backlund.
Didn't the what's her name get naked or something? Somebody was saying that in Discord the other day.
Emma Watson?
Yeah.
I don't know. No clue. Don't really keep
That's
up.
That's not the thing we need to talk about. Yeah.
Well, I think
I just remember somebody brought it up the other day.
It was
Uncle Tom.
That's who brought it up.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
well,
I can't believe
he's somebody's uncle.
Yeah, he is. You want to talk about the main event?
Not really. I'm just kidding. Penta came out, tossing Rollins into everything that wasn't nailed down. They brawled around ringside, chopped ring posts. They actually did, and it made a staticky thing when he did it. That was a good production thing. And dove over barricades. Full lucha chaos. Back in the ring, Rollins took control, started bleeding just a little. It was probably an accident because, they don't really allow color anymore. And we got big moves on both sides. Frog Splash, Backstabber, Penta Driver, Destroyer, you name it. They kicked out of it. The crowd was loving it. Then Rollins accidentally hit Penta low, accidentally in quotation marks. He had his head between his legs, and Penta was setting him up for something, and Rollins headbutted him in the balls. It's not great. And sure, totally believable. Followed up with the stomp for the win, and the winner is Rollins via a strategic groin attack and stomp. Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker appeared in the aisle like the world's angriest bouncers, and then LA Knight slid in, BFT'd Rollins, and bailed into the crowd while the fans chanted his name. Classic Knight exit. Decent match, clever finish, hot crowd. The Rollins Knight build is working, and now Rollins has a bruised ego and a bruised yeah. Overall, it was a decent show. Not as good as some of the other ones have been lately. This was just, I don't want to use the term filler episode, but there was definitely a lot of filler in this episode. I don't know. But yeah, it was average episode. What do you think?
Fucking my phone's was making noises. It's good though. But yeah, I think the show was safe. I didn't mind it. It was a decent show. I did fall asleep during it, and I had to watch the last hour today. So, take that for what it is. But I'm pretty tired after work sometimes, and that's definitely the case. And I did eat a pepperoni pizza, and I'm sure it was greasy as fuck, and also made me pretty tired. But overall, decent show.
Pepperoni pizza?
Yeah.
Well, fuck the show. Where'd you get this pizza from?
Domino's. They've had this deal lately. Medium pizza, one topping for $5. And you can't get you can't get anything for $5. You can't get anything for $5 these days. And they actually put an okay amount of pepperoni on it. And the Domino's up there, it's per location. Some Domino's suck, some KFC suck, some Taco Bell suck. This is a decent,
just like any food place.
Yeah, this is a decent one. They got the pull-up window, so I just order it, pay for it on the phone, go up, drive up when they tell me it's ready on the app. And it's funny because, somebody could place their app here and we could just be selling this shit like this. You know what I mean? Literally nailing it. But no, it's pretty good. I put a lot of hot sauce on it, and you can't get any deal like that anywhere else. And they handed me this little piece of paper that said they're doing customer appreciation nights, and I think they're going to be the 12th and the 13th, and they're doing medium one toppings for I think $3.49. So I'm going to be going up there getting all these fucking pizzas and shit, and I don't know.
Shout out to Domino's, and why don't you guys get us a Domino's sponsorship here? TJ's putting you over real good there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's genuine. We can nail it. The people are visualizing it. They want it. I can't imagine anything better than that. So I think that...
so get out there and get yourself some Domino's tonight.
Yeah, 100%. But I think we forgot to do it at the beginning of the show. Or at the beginning.
Well, yeah, I was just going to ask you, what has this been, TJ?
I'm looking for it.
The OverMark Entertainment WWE Raw review.
Yeah.
Wow.
I had to try to remember to do this at the beginning because I'm not putting it in. So that's what we're going to go with.
And moving forward,
An OverMark Entertainment exclusive.
yeah, a little bit of news here. And why don't you tell us what's going on in the news here there, TJ?
Well, we got some news, like you just said. A WWE couple's home was burglarized, and it happens to be Rollins and Lynch. So the date of the incident was early Tuesday morning around 3 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So that was today. So while you were sleeping, somebody tried to break into their place. I think it was one of their secondary homes. Though,
no,
right?
they did. No, this is their house. Well, it says it's their beach home. So I don't know if this is their legitimate home where they live when they're not on the road, or if this is a second home.
I'll keep going. Sorry, but anyways, it's the location, Southern California beach home of the two people we just talked about, Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. It's from TMZ Sports. Is what we're getting this from, by the way, so crediting them. And no one was home at the time of the break-in. The suspects entered through the rear sliding door. Would they break it? Cash was reportedly the only item taken. What, they just got cash laying around their beach home? Seth Rollins was the only one, was the one who called 911 to report the burglary. No arrests have been made as of now, and the investigation remains ongoing. So that's kind of weird. I wouldn't be leaving cash around my house for that exact reason.
Yep.
At least
Strange.
at least put it in a safe. What the fuck are you thinking? But
well, then, the funny thing about that they broke in through the sliding glass door is, I don't know if this is a coincidence or what, but I was scrolling through reels and there's this Psy gentleman that I have seen. He's like a home inspector out in Arizona, so his reels populate my feed from time to time. And I forgot the point of what I was talking about here, so we're going to move on.
We were talking about the sliding glass doors.
Oh, that's right. God, I'm retarded.
It's all right.
And he showed that there's like these little flashing pieces that you can just pop off the sliding glass doors and just open the other door that's supposed to be stationary if the shit's not installed properly and bypass the alarms and shit. So, maybe these criminals saw that video too, and their sliding glass door wasn't installed properly.
Either way, you could just smash through that if you wanted to break in there hard enough. Like, I think if you're worried about security, a sliding glass door would probably never be an option for you.
That's true.
Unless you get bulletproof glass or something.
Right?
I'm sure they have that.
What? Yeah. But anyway, so that happened. Good thing that nobody was home or anything like that. Hopefully they apprehend these rapscallions. You can't be out there just robbing people's houses. Get a regular job. I know it's hard times, but we're all broke. It is what it is.
Well, they could be targets too. Like, let's go break into Becky Lynch's and Seth Rollins' house.
It's probably in a well-to-do area where they know that the people with the houses have money, and they're like, well, let's go
probably
rob the rich people
shit. Too. Like, all these people aren't home. I mean, when you think about it, like, what would be the perfect night to rob those two?
Monday.
I don't know. Yeah, it really would be Monday. But whatever. We're not trying to give anybody any idea, so don't.
No, that's a bad idea. Don't ever do that. Holy shit! I just realized what we said.
We're not telling you the date or time to go over to their house. That's a terrible idea. And if that's the case, they should probably get some dogs around their home.
They ought to move to Florida, like and if people show up and do that kind of shit to you here, you just shoot the shit out of them. You're dead.
Come on, not even shooting fucking anybody, especially not Seth Rollins. The only thing getting shot there is something in his direction.
Oh no!
You know what I'm fucking getting at there.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all. But anyway, speaking of things to not like or like, we got some more news for you.
Oh yeah,
TNA.
Well, hold on. What
everybody's an OverMark Entertainment exclusive.
It sure is. TNA, the Total Nonstop Action Wrestling seeks a $10 million media rights deal. For context, the TNA promotion currently airs on the Access TV and YouTube. The promotion is seeking a long-term deal with a foundational media partner. Carlos Silva, the TNA president. We got some key interview highlights here via John Wall Street. Shout out to John Wall Street there. Appreciate your work, brother. The target valuation is $10 million per year. He says, we believe $10 million annually is a fair target. TNA is working with Creative Artists Agency to secure a deal. They're in talks with major linear networks and emerging digital platforms. Silva notes that some platforms today resemble what Spike TV used to be. We think TNA could play a similar role there, just like we and the UFC once did. Silva emphasized that TNA's current collaboration with WWE is helping drive visibility and help brand credibility. The partnership has positioned TNA as a viable media property again. Is $10 million a year really a realistic target in the current media landscape? What platforms would realistically anchor TNA as a core property? Is there much value in the TNA WWE crossover? And could we see a Spike's TV style return for the outlet to relive its primetime old school feel of TNA? I don't know about any of that stuff. I haven't watched TNA in a while, to be honest with you. I'll occasionally catch a match or something, or things in passing, read some news, see like some, clips of a match on Instagram, so maybe you go watch that match. Maybe their stuff's worth $10 million. I don't know. It's worth whatever you can talk folks into paying for it, I suppose. What do you think of this, TJ?
That's really not a lot of money, compared to WWE or AEW.
No.
Nothing at all. But I think it could be. I feel like they are kind of on the upswing a little bit, and the WWE exposure has helped them. And then they could also hype that up to people, saying, "Hey, occasionally we will have NXT guys on the show."
Yep.
So I mean, it's
one of their champions right now is literally an NXT guy.
I think,
or their world champion. My bad.
I feel like they could probably get more than that, but what the fuck do I know? I know nothing about any of this on a real level. I just know that everything's expensive today, so why couldn't they be too? But yeah, don't watch it. TNA. Haven't really in a long ass time. I hope they do well though. It's always good. They seem to never die, and it's hopefully they get what they need to keep going.
Yeah. Well, and that leads us to our next segment, which
OverMark Entertainment exclusive.
That's right. Speaking of a lot of wrestling and more wrestling, we have an opinion segment here. We got an opinion segment from TJ episode or two ago, and now we're going to get a Dave opinion. We got so much wrestling. Is it too much? Let's talk about something that's been on my mind for a while. As wrestling fans, we're living in an era of abundance, almost too much abundance. There are currently 8 weekly televised wrestling shows between AEW and WWE. And we're not talking about some YouTube backyard wrestling. These are network-backed, prime-time, legit TV deals on major platforms like USA Network, TBS, TNT Network, and even Tubi. I don't know how major Tubi is, but I mean, it is a free platform that's on every streaming device, so probably. Let's break it down. WWE has Monday Night Raw, 2.5 hours. SmackDown, 2 hours. NXT, 2 hours. Main Event, 1 hour, and that's on Peacock and Hulu. Evolve, 1 hour on Tubi. And the WWE Speed, which is a 15-minute thing that they show on Twitter that I think they tape during Main Event or Dark Match during this other stuff. Who knows? But that's almost 9 hours of WWE branded programming every single week. And that's before you even get into the monthly PLEs, which can go 3 to 4 hours each. And don't forget about the NXT runs of its own PLEs. And occasionally WWE has the Saturday night main event specials. So there's a lot going on there. Then we get to AEW, which Dynamite's 2 hours, Collision's 2 hours, instantly there 4 hours a week for AEW. If you add that up, you're looking at 13 hours of weekly wrestling television from just WWE and AEW. And like TJ and I were just saying a second ago, we don't watch TNA or other wrestling. So this is just these two. That's not counting all the other ones that are out there. And again, that doesn't account for the monthly pay-per-views and PLEs, which tack on another 3 to 8 hours, depending on the month. So here's the thing. On paper, more wrestling sounds like a dream. But in practice, it's kind of a grind. It's almost a part-time job just keeping up with everything. And it's not just about how much content there is. It's about what that does to the quality of the content. When you're filling 13 hours of wrestling TV a week, not everything can matter. Not everything can breathe. Not every character gets the time or direction they deserve. Segments start to feel like filler. TJ and I talk about this all the time. Storylines get stretched thin, and even the hot angles start to feel a little colder when they're buried in the middle of a 2-hour show you're watching out of obligation. It's not all bad. There's plenty of great wrestling out there, and we're definitely at a point where oversaturation is starting to feel real. And while we're not asking for less wrestling, we're asking for more meaningful wrestling, more focused shows, tighter storytelling, higher impact, lower bloat. More doesn't always mean better. And in the world of weekly wrestling TV, it might be time to start asking what should stay weekly and what might be better off on the cutting room floor. Yeah. So, what do you think of that, TJ? Do you think that we're kind of suffering from a little bit of bloat right now, or do you think that where we're at in terms of content that it's a good place?
Well, when you said the 13 hours there, like if you that's because we're watching two shows. If we just split it up into the I agree with you either way. But if you split it up, like AEW does 2 hours of Dynamite and then 2 hours of Collision. Now that in itself I don't think is too much, but the main problem is that Collision never really has any plans, and sometimes some storyline stuff happens on there, and there are some great matches that happen, so there's that to look forward to. But overall the show seems sloppy, not a lot of preparation, multi-man matches just tossed together, and just a lot of slop. And to some extent I feel like that happens on Dynamite here and there too, and definitely happens on SmackDown, and it happens on Raw here and there. And a lot of the stuff on Raw is, I feel like, a little bit more focused. Not everything. There is a lot of backstage segments, like we were saying, and there's improvements to be made from all the shows. But yeah, there's too much wrestling. And the thing about it is these companies know each other exist, and there's definitely a crossover. So at some point, it's like you would just want to have the better wrestling and have more people watching that one better wrestling thing as opposed to more shitty wrestling. So yeah, I get what you're saying there.
Yep, exactly. We're not hating, just use the time more equitably. And then also, like we talked about this weekend, SmackDown's back down to 2 hours. That's such a relief.
Yeah, that's good.
Hopefully we're going to start seeing a more tight, concise storytelling on SmackDown.
I wish these shows would start earlier. I really like 6 o'clock. No, we don't got to do 6, but maybe 7. I think that'd be good. Shows ending around 9 o'clock, 9:30. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I think 7. 7's a good start time.
Yeah, we're all these people that are getting old, that keep watching this show can't keep up all the time. Like I said, me falling asleep yesterday. But
thank God we can just watch it the next day.
But thanks for sharing that with us. We'll put it out there and let us know if you agree or disagree, and we'll have some dialogue about it. With that being said, I think that'll go ahead and wrap up.
An OverMark Entertainment exclusive.
And it's kind of funny enough, we have another.
An OverMark Entertainment exclusive.
Coming right up.
Wow.
Yeah, and this is a segment that we haven't done before, so it's a first timer here, and it's called Push Sue Tune. Push came too soon. I just butcher that right off the fucking bat, instantly. So this episode's entry, which I feel like is the perfect person to start this off with, is Roman Reigns, and it's his time between 2014 and 2019. I didn't list anything before 2014 because when they initially had the Shield run, he wasn't the guy that was being pushed as the top of the Shield guy. And either way, even if he was, the Shield was good at what they did, and while they're together, it worked out pretty well. So when they started pushing him as a solos guy, as the face of the company, very quickly, might I add, it wasn't working. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in depth here. Welcome to Push Came Too Soon, the segment where we dig up these moments when a wrestler got rocketed to the top way before the fans were on board. And today's entry, the big dog himself, Roman Reigns, from 2014 to 2019.
Yep, not the tribal chief, not the needle mover. We're talking about suffering succotash, tater tots, and this is my yard now, Roman. That 5-year stretch where WWE desperately tried to make Roman the next John Cena, and fans said, nah, we're good.
Yeah, let's rewind to 2014. The Shield breaks up. Rollins turns, Ambrose goes wild, and WWE looks at Roman and goes, that's the guy. He's in the Survivor Series spotlight, wins Superstar of the Year before he's really done anything, and then the 2015 Royal Rumble happens.
That's when the crowd turned hard. Bryan got tossed out early, and Roman wins the match to nuclear booing. And the WWE's idea of a fix? Send out The Rock. Even he couldn't save it. Man looked stunned like he just walked into a live Batista 2014 rerun.
Yeah, if The Rock can't save you, you're fucked. And he was pissed too. Yep. That kind of strained the relationship for a little bit. He felt like they sent him out there to fail and get booed.
Yep.
But anyways, it didn't get better. They booked Roman to beat Daniel Bryan at Fastlane. last thing you should have done. They should have kept those guys away from each other. Beat Brock at Mania. Oh, wait, Seth cashed in. But from there, it was 4 straight years of trying to make Roman the top face, no matter what the fans thought.
Main events at WrestleMania 31, 32, 33, 34. Booed out of buildings. Beating The Undertaker in Orlando. Man, that was rough. And they opened Raw with 5 straight minutes of pure hatred before he said 5 words. This is my yard now.
And the crazy part, Roman was improving. His ring work got better, his presence got better, but WWE never adjusted. They kept force-feeding him like the fans were going to suddenly wake up and say, you know what? He's not Cena, he's better.
Wasn't until late 2019, after real-life tragedy and time away, that the fans actually started to respect the guy. And it still took until 2020 for WWE to finally pull the trigger on the heel run that actually changed everything.
He should have been a silent badass in 2015. Instead, they made him a cartoon hero in a tactical vest cutting promos like he was in a rejected Marvel spinoff.
Roman Reigns, amazing talent, Hall of Fame career, but the original babyface
push came too soon. Yep. What do you think? Was this a botched launch or a long-term plan that finally paid off? Hit the comments, and while you're there, like, follow, and subscribe for more OverMark content every week.
That's right.
Well,
so that we can defeat that nasty algorithm guy.
Yeah,
maybe we'll do a segment about him.
He's been a fucking dick lately, man.
He really has. I don't know what his problem is, but he's not liking our videos lately. And
I think it might be Val Venus and The Godfather, or not. One.
He's a real dickhead.
Yeah, he is. We're going to show that motherfucker a thing or two. I tell you that. But I think that'll pretty much wrap up this episode here. So that being said, we'll be here the day after Dynamite, Thursday. Most likely. If we're not feeling up for it, maybe we'll do it Friday. But we'll have that.
Oh no! Because remember, it's
Thursday. Yeah. So we're actually
Dynamite. So
Friday.
We'll do this Friday.
Yeah. So we'll be there with that. Wednesday Dynamite and Thursday Collision for you Thursday, and later in the week we'll end up having SmackDown, and then we'll end up having the AEW pay-per-view, Evolution,
Saturday night main event.
Yeah, Saturday night's main event. So
the AEW pay-per-view is what? That's Sunday, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Which will be nice,
but so is the women's pay-per-view.
But the thing that's not going to be nice is they're going to try to have that shit on till 1 a.m. Sunday. And it's just like, hey man, we got work Monday.
What? Oh man, I don't.
You don't remember? That's how all these things end. The pay-per-views always go on till like 1 a.m.
What was that one that we watched that was real shitty?
Dynasty. I forget.
Yeah, and fuck Dynasty. Probably the worst pay-per-view I've ever seen in my life.
I won't go that far, but it definitely wasn't great.
I mean, it was Starrcade '97 levels of bad.
Well, I'm hoping that this pay-per-view, and I'm not questioning the talent and the in-ring talent that will all the matches are going to be good, but it's like, again, and we say this all the time, it's like filet mignon's awesome, but it's like once you start getting into that, like you're like eating like a pound of that shit, you're like, man, maybe I shouldn't eat them as much as this stuff, and you don't really like it as much. Like all these matches are so similar in the presentation of them. Especially just the announcers just never highlighting the importance of these matches. It leads to some pretty rough nights sometimes, and I'm hoping that I'm proven wrong, and I'm going into this with optimism and the best outlook I can, and I'm looking forward to it. And I know a lot of people are hyping this up like it's going to be the best pay-per-view of all time, and I bet in their eyes it will be, just like the last one was and the one before that. But either way, that's neither here nor there. It will be there when it happens. But check out the social medias at OverMark ENT. Like I said, we'll see you when we see you. I appreciate you guys for listening, and I'll talk to you next time. I'm going to hand it off to Dave, and we'll get out of here.
Well, thanks for everything, TJ. This was a fun show. Pretty fun Raw. It feels like the AEW shows have been a little bit more fun lately, but this was a good Raw. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed doing it with you. The show, I mean. And
I hope.
On that note, we're gonna get on out of here, and This was
An OverMark Entertainment exclusive.
Have a good one, guys.
see you later.